everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm so grateful. So, since I've started making videos on conscious creation, and since the time I've started receiving comments on my videos, I have gained a new perspective on how people, when they're trying to learn something, when they're trying to understand about something, they get stuck at the most simple things. And here I'm not trying to demean the fact that you might be having doubts or you might be having questions. I'm not saying it in that way, but I'm saying it in a way where I know, okay, I know that you know about this, and I'll explain about this a bit later. I know that as a person, you are aware of this, you know what this is. But just because you're trying to perfect yourself into something, like you want to perfect this art of conscious creation, and you want this thing to show up, and you cannot afford to mess up, you cannot afford to lose time, that kind of, mindset that you are in, you get in your own way. And when you get in your own way, you get stuck in the things that your mind is aware of. But in those moments when you are so desperate to know about something, understand something, you forget and completely eliminate that fact that these are basic things that I am already aware of. I already know about these things. Now, again, try to understand, I'm not talking about the bigger things here, like dealing with your resistance and emotions, those kind of things. I'm talking about really simple things that you forget you're aware of, that you forget you have knowledge about, that you forget that you know what it means. Now, one more reason for that could be that different people explain things in a different manner. Sometimes really simple things are being explained in very complicated and complex way by people on YouTube or otherwise. It's difficult to comprehend that language. For example, when words like consciousness are used, a lot of people might not understand that meaning. And when they see videos or content around manifestation where they keep repeating the same word, in your consciousness, your consciousness, your consciousness, they think it's something really complicated, but there's nothing complicated about it. Like, consciousness is just your awareness. And once you understand the meaning, that oh, it's awareness, I know what awareness means, I know what awareness is, I know it is where my focus, attention and response goes. That's awareness. It's just being mentioned as consciousness, and suddenly you feel it's something complex that I need to understand, otherwise I won't understand what conscious creation is. Same goes for your state of being. I've seen people getting so confused around this topic. One, what is state of being? Second is, how do I get into a state? How do I shift my states? Third is, should I be in a state the whole day? What if I'm not in that state the whole day? What will happen? What if I'm in that state the whole day? What will happen? How do I recognize my state of being? And I did not even know about these terms 10 years back. Okay, 10 years back, um, I started my journey of consciously creating my reality, but it started with baby steps. Okay, I did not become a master. I don't even consider all those 10 years. My major years have been the past 5 to 6 years. 10 years back, I got to know about these things. Uh, in 2011, I think it's been more than 10 years, is when I came across this knowledge. Then I started doing it on smaller things like, college admission and having manifesting text messages from certain people. I started with all that. And during the past 5 years is when, in theory, I started researching more and gaining a deeper understanding on these things. So back then, when I was already manifesting things, I did not know these technical terms, state of being, resistance. People get confused with resistance a lot too. It's just your negative emotions and opposing thoughts. Whatever is not matching with what you are seeking, that kind of emotion is resistance towards it. It's nothing complicated, okay? It's not a complex thing to understand. I did not know anything about belief, and you have to build up your belief, and should I believe it or not? These kind of questions and thoughts and terms, I was not aware of anything. I had a very simple concept and understanding of law of attraction, is what they used to call it back then. Now it's law of assumption. I don't use any of these terms on my channel, but they all mean the same. The process remains the same. You can give it any name. Uh, so I just had a very simple, basic understanding that if I want something to show up, I just have to saturate myself, the internal experience, imagine it, and it will show up. Okay, that's all I knew. I knew nothing else in theory. I knew nothing else when it comes to all these terms and techniques. I didn't know techniques. Like, techniques is something I came to know 4 5 years back, that these things are called as techniques. I have been a person who does imaginal acts since I can remember, since my childhood days, my entire school life, my college life till now. I'm a person who feels a lot of emotions, who can imagine things, who loves visualizing. I love visualizing, and I didn't know these things are called techniques. I have been doing that since I can remember. So for me, it was very simple. I need to imagine it, feel good. I used to listen to a lot of music. That's how I used to build up my belief. And I used to just imagine it here. And it was never to receive it from outside, okay? uh, I used to ensure that I'm enjoying it, I'm entertaining myself, I'm having fun with it, specifically when it came to, crushes and romantic relationships. There was never any resistance around it, there was never any fears around it, because I was just enjoying myself. And all those times it showed up. Similarly, with other things, when I started my career, I wanted certain kind of jobs and certain kind of salaries. And with my college admissions, I used to just decide that this is what I want. I didn't even know back then that the way I explain things now, that you have to decide it, claim it. I didn't know any of that, and I was doing it in a very simple way where I know if I want it, I just need to know internally and focus on me receiving it. That's all. And it will come up. And that's what happened throughout those initial 4 5 years. So once I actually, in theory, started learning this 4 5 years back, I was watching a lot of videos, I was reading up a lot of content online. And when I started making videos myself, the kind of comments I received, I personally was surprised at how are people getting stuck with such simple things. Again, I'm not talking about the bigger things like dealing with trauma and emotions, um, and all this confusion around building belief. I'm talking about simple things that you are aware of, but you kind of are getting stuck because you're too focused on perfecting this. You're too focused on absorbing every knowledge you can get. And you're so immersed in all of this that you never even reach to applying this knowledge. So the things that I was already doing without having any definitions about it, without getting stuck on these kind of simple things, now because I'm making videos on it, I really have to think hard, on how should I put this across? How should I explain something that on one side I feel like it's logical, people should know this, it's a simple thing. But then on the other side, I know that maybe it's being complicated too much by the kind of content they're watching, by the kind of language they're reading. Like for Neville, if you read his books or any of his lectures, that language he uses, not everyone is able to comprehend it. Okay, people, I've seen people bashing personal coachings a lot, um, for their own reasons. Okay, that there's so much free content online. The god of manifestation, Neville, and everyone else, the older teachers who have set a good base for students to learn from, their lectures are there on YouTube, their articles are there everywhere for free. Why don't you just look it up? Why are you spending your money on coaching? And coaching has its own benefits. Some people need hand holding, some people need a person who's keeping a track of their progress, helping them when they're getting stuck, giving them tools and methods and tips and tricks. Okay, and not everyone understands this kind of language that Neville uses. I try to explain conscious creation the most simple way possible in my videos. I don't like using complicated terms or sentence structures that people will not even understand. And when I started reading Neville, I'm able to understand what he writes, but I know that not everyone is able to understand it. the way he has written his books, the way his lectures are, the kind of words he uses, uh, those can be put in a bit of a complicated category that not everyone who is good at this language, English, would be able to understand. So, other coaches who are making content are explaining it in a simple manner, or if you're taking personal coaching, they are breaking these things down for you that you're not able to understand through those lectures. So through this video, I want to let you know that there's nothing complicated about this. Just because now it's been put in theory and things are being broken down so that people are able to gather a better knowledge about it, does not automatically mean it's something complicated. It's a really, really simple process. Okay, so that's all I wanted to discuss in this video. I really hope I was able to add some value to your manifestation process. In case you have any kinds of question, you can leave it in the comment section below. I have my Instagram linked below for a regular dose of motivation, and my second YouTube channel, which is about self-development and mindset. Not really from a manifestation perspective, but in general. So if the videos interest you over there, you can have a look. I will see you in the next video. Till then, have a great week.